All right, everybody, what is going on, man? How y'all doing? It is tournament time, man. The SWAC tournament is in effect. We had our first round of games yesterday, so I'm gonna stop by today and recap these games. Um, we'll do the same thing tomorrow for the second round games that are taking place today. So y'all make sure y'all lock in. All the games are on ESPN Plus. Um, so y'all make sure y'all check that out. If you're in the area, man, you can get a little time away. Especially them early games, man. Shoot through and help with the atmosphere. But we got two games, two results, two teams moving on to the second round. So we're gonna go ahead and run through those games really quickly. And like I said, we'll be back tomorrow to do the same thing. I had a chance to watch part of the first game, didn't have a chance to watch any of the second game, but gonna try to check it out anyway. But our first game was the number 10 seed Alabama State going down to the number 11 seed Alcorn State, 77-65. This was a game that it looked like for a while, man, like the score was gonna be very, very low scoring. It took a long time for teams to kind of get going, which is understandable. In a tournament setting, you kind of got guys trying to feel their way out. You don't really know how things are gonna go. But this game was 2-2 for the longest. It was 2-2 for till about the 15-24 mark of the first half. So about almost 5 minutes, the score was tied at 2 before the scoring kind of took up. Bama State, I really think what their issues were all season, handled them here. Alcorn, they're only playing a few guys, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they make it depth wise, playing every day. That makes today's game against Prairie View interesting to see how they handle it. But yesterday they handled it well. Tyson McDaniels, huge game for him, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks, 4 steals. Really, really big game. Played all 40 minutes. That right there is gonna be interesting to me. They had 3 guys play 37 minutes or more. So and then another guy playing 34 minutes. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team does depth wise. I mean, they only played 7 guys in this action, and Bryson Calamese only played 2 minutes. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle this moving forward, and if they continue to advance. How this team is going to be energy wise. But like I said, good game here. McDaniels was 6 of 12 from the field and 10 of 13 from the line. Also, Jamil Morris had a huge game, especially in the second half, which is where Alcorn kind of flexed their muscles in the second half. Outscoring Bama State 45-34 after leading 32-31 at the half. Like I said, Jamil Morris, 22 points as well, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. He was 7 of 15 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3, and 8 of 10 from the line. They also got 13 points from Amari Hamilton. He was 8. He had 8 rebounds as well, 2 assists, 1 block. He was 5 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, and 2 of 2 from the line. And also got 10 points from Nick Woodard. He had 5 rebounds, and he was 3 of 5 from the field and 2 of 3 from the 3-point line, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Davian Williams also had 8 points as well for the Braves. Alcorn finished with 37 rebounds, 16 assists, 16 fouls, 15 assists, 10 turnovers, 6 blocks, and 8 steals. They shot 45% for the field for the game, 34% in the first half, 55 in the second, 2 of 9 from 3 in the first half for 22%, 2 of 7 from 3 in the second half for 28%, shooting 25% for the game, 4 of 16. And then they shot 76% from the free throw line for the game, 70% in the first half, 84 in the second half. Not I'm not really super concerned about the 3-point shooting early in the tournament. I think it's going to take most teams, it's going to take them a little bit to get adjusted to shooting at different baskets. So I think teams might be off a little bit, but there's always an outlier every day. Bama State was led by Ja'Carrier Stanback with 16 points and 12 rebounds. He also had 4 blocks. That's the defensive player of the year. So he did what he was advertised to do. 8 of 14 from three. Made up 14 from the field. 0 for 1 from three. 15 points from Michael Simpson. 6 rebounds. 5 assists. He was 2 of 11 from the field. 2 of 8 from three. 9 of 11 from the line. And 10 points from Tyler Bird. Also 12 points from Tyler Mason. The Hornets, like I said, their shooting just was not there this season really at all. And it was the same here. And it looked like in the second half, as the Alcorn League kind of started to grow, they started to settle for just long threes. Didn't really look to work the ball inside, didn't really look to move the ball, didn't really look to have any kind of offense other than, put up a three and see what happens. They were 6 of 28 from three for the game for 21%. They did shoot 36% in the second half, 4 of 11. They were 2 of 17 in the first half for 11%. From the field, they were 35% for the game, 13 of 39, 33% for the first half, and 40% in the second half. They shot 60% from the free throw line in the first half, 66 in the second, and 65 for the game. They finished with 39 rebounds, 20 fouls, 14 assists, 9 turnovers, 5 blocks, and 6 steals. So we will have a new tournament champ. That's obviously important news now that Bama State's out. Alcorn advances to the second round to take on Prairie View. That game will be today at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN Plus. So Braves turn around and get an offensive team that's probably going to really test them. And like I said, to me, the key for Alcorn is other than, like I said on my preview, which Braves team going to show up now is going to be can they get something from other guys to give the starters a little bit of a break. They're gonna have to win 3 games in 3 days just to get a day off. So they really need somebody to kind of give them some depth just for minutes. Nothing more, nothing less, just for minutes' sake. And if they can get that, then they'll be okay. But if they have to play, 7 guys for the stretch of this tournament, I don't know if they're gonna be here much longer. Our last game in the first round kind of went as expected, but it was still a kind of a surprising offensive output from Grambling as the Tigers beat Valley 77-52. This game was basically all Grambling. They led 34-19 at the half. And they outscored Valley 43-33 as Valley kind of got a little bit of offensive rhythm in the second half, but not enough to really do anything. Valley was led by Michael James, the newcomer of the year in the SWAC, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. He was 7 of 16 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3, and 5 of 6 from the line. Nobody else did really did anything. No, their starters for Valley, other than Michael James, combined for 5 points. So they did not get anything from anybody. Daniel Mayfield, a guy who, routinely chips in double figures, only had 2 points. So they really didn't get anything from anybody in this matchup. And, I've seen people say, over the night, the SWAC shouldn't bring 12 teams. I feel like, my personal opinion, this game could have went, another way. Valley could have played a bit better. But that's what they want. So, we're not going to change their mind with that argument. But, like I said, these kind of games happen to anybody in a tournament. So I don't really put it on just the fact that Valley is, the 12 seed, but, they have been playing a little bit better as the season wrapped up. This was probably one of the worst games that they played. And, Grambling had a lot to do with that. Grambling's a defensive team in terms of kind of, keeping you off the scoreboard. Their problem this season has been putting points on the board, but solid game for them. But let's look at what Valley did on the night. 35 rebounds, 16 fouls. They did have 14 assists, 18 turnovers, 3 blocks, and 10 steals. They shot 34% from the field, 25 in the first half, up to 42 in the second half. They were 5 of 15 from three for the game for 33%. They were 37% from three in the first half, 28 in the second half. They shot 64% from the free throw line, 11 of 17. So Valley is a team that doesn't necessarily get to the free throw line a lot, and that showed here. But honestly, I don't know how much difference getting to the free throw line a lot in a game like this would have been. Ironically, this is a game where they played. They played a lot of guys in this game, and maybe it was more so due to the deficit. But Valley had a stretch of time where they weren't playing very many guys, and today was probably one of the largest numbers of guys that they played, and it just didn't go right for them. Grambling, they were led by Jamil Mutterly with 22 points. He was 6 of 12 from the field, 5 of 8 from three, 5 of 7 from the line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. They also got 15 points from Darius Ward, 2 rebounds. He had 7 assists and 1 steal. He was 4 or 5 from the line, 3 or 4 from three, and 4 or 7. 4 or 5 from the field, 3 or 4 from three, 4 or 7 from the line. This was kind of a balanced attack because they did get 9 points from Roger Coffey. Also, Makai Fitz had 9 points, and Jamil Lane had 8. Antonio Munoz had 7. So this was more, this was kind of, Mutterly was the top guy, but everybody kind of did their part here. 36 rebounds for Grambling, 17 fouls, 15 assists, 12 turnovers, 4 blocks, and 7 steals. They shot 34% from the field in the first half, 50 in the second, 43 for the game. The key to me in this game for Grambling was that they shot 54% from the three-point line. They were 13 of 24. That 13 three-pointers is a season high. This is a team that doesn't shoot the three well. If there's one thing that typically you could hold against Grambling is that they're not a good three-point shooting team. They shoot about 30% for the season in conference play. They don't make a lot of threes either. But so that this is a surprising result. 7 of 13 in the first half of 53%, 6 of 11 in the second half of 54%. So really, really good shooting. When you look at it, Mutterleib had 5 threes, Coffey had 3, Ward had 3, Ballard and Fitz, they each had 1 apiece. So they were able to get some good shooting from guys, and all these guys shot a good percentage from out there. So, I don't know if they can keep that up to that extent, but if the 3-point shooting is going to be there for Grambling, then you're going to have to watch out for this team because, like I said, this is a team that, they play solid defense. They don't allow a lot of points. Like I said, their issue has always been on the offensive end, putting the ball in the basket. They're not a really good shooting team. They're streaky. They're prone to games where they don't make very many shots from outside. But if they can shoot like this, in the next game, then you got to give Grambling an edge. Prospectively. But Grambling also shot 66% from the free throw line. That's something that you want to see increase. But they did increase their percentage from 64 to 71 from the first out of the second half. Just a solid game for Grambling, man. You can't really take too much away from it. Valley, the rough game for them that season is over. Kind of made it a little interesting down the stretch, with a couple wins to avoid a winless regular season. But, they were outmatched here. Grambling played, like I said, they needed to do. They needed to kind of get back to that Grambling that played in the non-conference, and for at least one round, they looked like that. Very interesting matchup against Jackson State. 9 seed against 7 seed. JSU, we don't, as far as I know, we haven't really got anything on Deshaun Ruffin or Dorian McMillan. The health of those guys is going to be interesting in this matchup. This game is set for 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN Plus. So we're going to keep our eyes on that. I still think Grambling has a good shot if they don't have to shoot 54% every night from outside, but if they can shoot 38 to 40% from outside, I think that gives them a decent edge to kind of control these games. So Grambling is a team I can see getting to the quarterfinals. Um, so let's keep an eye out on this game. This will be an intriguing game. I think both games today will be interesting. I do like Prairie View in the first game, just because I don't, I think Alcorn depth wise is going to be a challenge. And I think Grambling, depending on the health of Jackson State's guys, I like Grambling right now. So that's going to do it for today's show. We'll be back tomorrow to recap the action from round 2 and get ready for the quarterfinals. So with that being said, man, I'm your tour guide around the SWAC Seawells signing out, and I will catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.